How's it going? Friday, August 19th, 2022. I've been matching up baseball Hall of Fame players in this book, matching up two players side by side in their career achievements and stats. I've covered hitters in my previous videos. This video, number 493, career pitching strikeouts matchup. The pitcher with the most strikeouts, how does he match up with 19 other pitchers after him with the most strikeouts in Major League Baseball history? Who has the most strikeouts? Career? You should know. Nolan Ryan, 5,714 career strikeouts. That record will never be broken. 2 is Randy Johnson. He has over 4,800. Steve Carlton has 4,000, over 4,000. So those top 3, incredible pitchers. Then there's 11 other players that have over 3,000 strikeouts. Burt Blyleven, Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, Gaylord Perry, Walter Johnson, Greg Maddux, Phil Niekro, Ferguson Jenkins, Pedro Martinez, Bob Gibson, John Smoltz, over 3,000. I know there are present-day players, 2 of them, that are pitching right now, but they're not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. When I do these videos, I'm covering strictly baseball pitchers who are in the Hall of Fame. So continuing after Smoltz, there's Jim Bunning, 2,800 strikeouts, Mike Mussina, Cy Young, Tom Glavine, Walter Spahn, and Bob Feller. So those are the top 20 strikeout leaders. Nolan Ryan is number 1. How does he match up with the rest of these guys? And what I did, I took 15 categories. If you win the category, you win the matchup. Categories are 15 of them: wins, innings, strikeouts, complete games, games started in a season, shutouts in a season, ERA, career, wins in a season, innings, most wins in a season, most innings in a season, most strikeouts in a season, and best ERA in a season. Then the most career saves, and then winning percentage. 15 categories. How did Nolan Ryan do in this matchup? Very good. 17 wins, 2 losses. Who did he beat? Randy Johnson beat him 12-3. Steve Carlton, Ryan wins 9-5-1. Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan 10-4-1. Don Sutton, Ryan 11-2-2. Walter Johnson, he lost. Walter Johnson beat Nolan Ryan 13-2 in categories. It's kind of interesting. Why? Because, well, Johnson has wins, innings, complete games, game started in the season, shutouts in a season, best ERA in a season, most wins in a season, most innings in a season, and best ERA in a season, more saves than Ryan, and better winning percentage. So he won 13 times. Where did Ryan win? He just won in strikeouts and then strikeouts in a season, 2 categories. Continuing, Greg Maddux, Nolan Ryan and Greg Maddux. Ryan wins 11-4. Phil Niekro, Ryan wins 8-7. That's close. Ferguson Jenkins, Ryan wins 10-5. Pedro Martinez, Ryan wins 11-3-1. Bob Gibson, close, but Ryan beat him 8-7. John Smoltz, Ryan wins 11-4. Jim Bunning, Ryan wins 12-1. Mike Mussina, Ryan wins 14-1. Cy Young, Ryan lost 13-2. Why? Because the only two categories that Ryan can beat Cy Young in is in career strikeouts and strikeouts in a season. All the rest of the categories, Cy Young wins it. So that's why I lost. So he loses to Johnson and Cy Young. Why? Those old time pitchers had more wins, innings, and they had complete games, games started, shutouts, ERA, innings. They just pitched. What's the right word? They stayed in the game longer, and that way they accumulated the career stat, and that's why they win. Where the pitchers that Ryan is beating are comparable to when he's playing, because these guys don't stay in the game as long, don't have as many complete games, innings in a season, so forth, shutouts. Continuing, Tom Glavine, Ryan wins 14-1. Warren Spahn, that was close, but Ryan won at 8-7. And Bob Feller, that was close, but Ryan won 8-7. So who does Nolan Ryan win? Who did he beat? He has 17 wins, 2 losses. Ryan beat Mussina, Glavine, Randy Johnson, Burt Blyleven, Bunning, Maddox, Smoltz, Martinez, Sutton, Jenkins, Seaver, Carlton, Perry, Necro, Gibson, Spahn, and Feller. The only 2 losses for Nolan Ryan is Walter Johnson and Cy Young. Ryan dominated in career strikeouts and most strikeouts in a season. What do you think of Nolan Ryan? Did you know he had 7 no-hitters? That record will never be broken. Sandy Koufax had 4 no-hitters. And some other pitchers had 3. Cy Young had 3 of them. Some present-day players had 3. Bob Feller had 3 no-hitters. 7 no-hitters for Nolan Ryan. His fastball people could not catch up. And then when they were sitting on that 100 miles per hour fastball, Ryan would come in with either a hook or a changeup or some other pitch to fool them. And then when they were guessing what's the pitch coming, then he'd fire that fastball in high and tight or high, and they just could not catch up. Tony Gwynn said one of the toughest pitchers he faced was Nolan Ryan. Wouldn't it be interesting that if you could have a time capsule and have Walter Johnson and Nolan Ryan face each other, who would win that game? Well, according to matchups, Walter Johnson beat him because he had more wins and shutouts and innings and so forth. But in a game on one-on-one, let's say you presuppose and you have them in a time capsule and they both pitch and they both have comparable teammates, who would win that game? I think Ryan would probably have 15 strikeouts of the old timers. Walter Johnson probably would have had about 15 strikeouts too, because he was throwing it hard back in his time. Interesting. We do know that Walter Johnson has more wins. Did you see the matchup with Walter Johnson? Why does Walter Johnson beat Nolan Ryan? Here's why. 417 wins. Ryan, 324. That's almost 100 more wins. Of course, he's pitching in more games. He pitched in 800. No. Johnson pitched 802 games. Nolan Ryan, 807. So they pitched in the same amount of games. But here's a difference. Innings. Walter Johnson, 5,914. Ryan, 5,386. So that's about 600 more innings for Johnson. Strikeouts. Ryan has over 2,200 more strikeouts than Walter Johnson. Ryan 5,714. Johnson 3,509. So Ryan struck out more players. And even though Johnson had more innings. So the ratio of strikeouts per inning, Ryan wins that. But in these other matchups, I mean, complete games, Johnson 531, Ryan only 222, only I say. That's a difference of over 300 more complete games. See, the old time pitchers, they stayed in the game longer. And as a result, we get the decision. If Ryan had stayed in the game longer in some of these, he may have get close to 400 wins, but he didn't. Managers will pull him in the new school era, which is after 1950. Pitchers came out where before 1950 they stayed in the game, even went to extra innings, and still pitched in extra innings. Game started. Ryan had more, 773, and Johnson 666. So Ryan wins there. Game started in a season. Johnson had 42. Ryan 41 was his most. So Johnson wins that. Shutouts. Johnson 110. Ryan 61. That's 40. That's 51 more shutouts. Who dominates there? Johnson. Shutouts in a season. Johnson had 11. That was his highest. Ryan 9. So ERA. The lowest for Johnson in a season was 2.17. Ryan 3.19. See, Johnson wins. Wins in a season. Walter Johnson had 36 victories one year. The most for Ryan was 22. Innings. Johnson had 371 innings pitched. Ryan 332. Strikeouts in a season. Most for Johnson 313. That's where Ryan wins that one. He had 383 one year. Then he came back and had another 380 strikeout season. ERA, best in a season. Oh, the other ERA was career. Career ERA, Johnson 2.17, Ryan 3.19. ERA, best in a season. Ryan had a Johnson had a 1.14. Best for Ryan was 1.69. Saves, Johnson had 34 in his career. Ryan only had 3. And then winning percentage, Johnson 599 winning percentage career. Ryan 526. So you can see that in the matchup, I mentioned that it was 13-2. Actually, it's 12-3 because Johnson won 12 categories, but he lost in 3. Where did he lose? Johnson lost to Ryan in career strikeouts, games started, and strikeouts in a season. So 3 categories for Ryan, but 12 for Johnson. Who's the better pitcher? According to this, Walter Johnson. More victories, more innings. Ryan has more strikeouts. That's debated. I think Walter Johnson only had 1 no-hitter. I have to look that up. I think it was only 1. Ryan had 7. Then he had a lot of one-hitters. But Johnson had 110 shutouts. Ryan only 61. Also, Johnson's ERA is better than Ryan's. Who do you pick? You ask me? I go with Walter Johnson because he has more wins, more shutouts, more innings pitched. better ERA. Got to go with the stats. But I would lean toward Nolan Ryan if I had a game 7 because he would strike out people with his fastball, and he may pitch a no-hitter in a World Series game. But in overall career stats, you got to go with Walter Johnson. But nothing knocking on Nolan Ryan. What a player, what a pitcher. And he had 17 wins in matchups. So give it up for Nolan Ryan. Okay? What do you think of that matchup? I thought it was fascinating. Strikeout matchups. Next, we're going to get into the shutouts matchups, and that's where Walter Johnson, 110. Let's see who has the most shutouts after Walter Johnson. Match him up, see how his wins and losses come out. We'll tackle that next. Thanks for watching here. I'm out.